Yeah, this is a system that is used by the local colonists to get lumber out from very, very long distances. They can bring it in from the top of a hill or across the river in this case. And they cut the trees back in on the far side of the river, and then they use this trolley system to actually bring the each of the pieces of lumber out. And these are basically 2 by 12 by 8 foot long pieces of lumber that are then sold. And a lot of the industry in the area, the initial industry for the colonists, has been just extracting the lumber resources. Of course, it's very, very limited. You're talking trees that take a couple hundred years to grow, and cutting them down in a space of 10 years, and without really any thought of trying to regrow them or anything like that. The second thing that's happening here, I'm not sure. We've got a corridor here of farms. We've got different farms that we've purchased, and I'm a little concerned that this might be actually extracting some lumber out of one of our farms, because our farms are where the trees still are. Farms that we were able to buy from primary colonists who'd come in and taken them over, and they actually were able to get title, and then we were able to buy them back from the colonists. The ridge behind us there is the boundary of the Cofán Bermejo Ecological Reserve. And so beyond that, anything that is being done is definitely our bailiwick, is something that we would be, our park guards would be working to maintain.
Is it really possible for these colonists to, cause damage over time with this logging?
Certainly, you're taking out all of selected species. The first wave takes out your very old growth hardwoods, and then subsequent lumbering processes take out just about all the larger trees. And a lot of these trees are fruit trees. A lot of these trees are trees that are very necessary for holding erosion. They've trees that have been developed over centuries and are part of what's holding the soils. You've got a whole bunch of secondary problems that begin to arise the minute you begin to lose these forest trees. It's difficult for people in a U.S. World to understand, because what you're used to in the U.S. when you say deforestation, you're looking at a hill of pines, all nice and green, and on the other side, a clear-cutting area. And it's not like that. What they're doing here is they're going in and they're altering dramatically the ecologies. They're cutting down all these big trees. Each of the big trees that goes down then carves out a great big space where it fell. But it's not, going in and just erasing huge areas of forest in this type of lumbering. It's there's a lot of stuff. All the stuff that isn't any good remains. But the problem is, it's not necessarily the stuff that's, often it's the mix of everything that makes the forest viable and operable unit. When you take out 30 species out of the 80 species of big trees that are on that particular hectare, you have done tremendous damage to the ecosystem.
And how can the park rangers prevent this?
Just constant patrolling, constantly being there. The minute something like this goes up, they're in there with Ministry of Environment people, with police, with military if it causes for, if things escalate to force, and chasing people out and making them back off.
Now, why wouldn't they? I mean, as I see this, I feel like I could just cut this rope. Now, I know this is not your property here, but I feel like I could just cut the rope and they'd have to start all over.
In some cases, you can get away with that. What you want to, a constant problem when you're a very, very small number of people trying to control very, very large areas. Not only that, you're indigenous people who are viewed as, by the mestizo population as virtually subhuman in many cases. So the amount of clout that you have depends a lot on your ability to call in the authorities. And So a lot of what we do is to try to engage the authorities in what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be out here taking care of things like this, and they don't. So we force them into situations where they have to accompany us, have to actually get in and do it. And it makes the threat very meaningful to a colonist when he has that. Now, if we just come in and cut this, that's a personal thing between the colonist and the Kofan park guard who did it. And it can escalate into a personal vendetta. When we find this and then go back and bring in a group of military or the provincial governor and they come in and take the whole thing down, then it's not our fault. It's the legal procedures and the understanding of this as part of a much bigger legal and institutional situation. It becomes much stronger. We do have the situations when it's a blatant, that's sitting right on the middle of one of our areas, and they're cutting down the forest right there. Our guys will do it. They cut these things. The same with the dredges, the gold mining dredges. We've had our guys burned a couple of dredges and booby trapped another one. It poured all the oil out and filled it back up with garbage and things like that. And when the offending groups are clearly within Kofan territory, they have lumped it. We got caught, they ruined our equipment. They make a fuss over it, but they don't follow through. But it's always better when you can get the authorities to come in and actually take action. It's much safer and much better for everybody.